విస్తీర్ణం పరంగా ప్రపంచంలోనే రెండో అతిపెద్ద దేశం కెనడాలో కరోనా వ్యాప్తి అంతకంతకు పెరుగుతోంది. కేసుల సంఖ్య తక్కువగానే ఉన్నా మరణాల రేటు ఎక్కువగా ఉండటం కలవరపెడుతోంది. ఈ చల్లని దేశంలో కట్టడి అనేక చర్యలు తీసుకుంటున్నారు. ఆసుపత్రుల్లో మరణిస్తున్న వారి సంఖ్య ఎక్కువగా ఉంటుంది. ఈ నేపథ్యంలో వైరస్ కట్టడికి అక్కడ ఎటువంటి చర్యలు తీసుకుంటున్నారు? అత్యధిక కేసులు ఉన్న అమెరికాను అనుకునే ఆ దేశంలో పరిస్థితులు ఎలా ఉన్నాయి? రెమిడిసివిర్, హైడ్రాక్సీక్లోరోక్విన్ వాడకాన్ని అక్కడ ఎందుకు ఆపేశారు? ఈ విషయాలు తెలియజేశారు కెనడాలో ప్రముఖ తెలుగు వైద్యులు భాను నల్లా. ప్రస్తుతం ఆయన ఒంటారియోలోని కన్సల్టెంట్ అనస్థెటిస్ట్గా, ఇంటెన్సివ్ కేర్ అనలిస్ట్గా సేవలందిస్తున్నారు. డాక్టర్ భానుతో ఆన్లైన్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ.
కరోనా పంచతో అన్ని దేశాల్లో లాగే ఉత్తర అమెరికాలోని కెనడా సైతం తీవ్రంగా ఇబ్బంది పడుతోంది. అక్కడ కేసుల సంఖ్య, మరణాల రేటు ఎక్కువగా నమోదవుతుంది. వైరస్ వ్యాప్తి మొదలైన కొత్తలో ఏకంగా ఆ దేశ ప్రధాని సతీమణికే వైరస్ సోకింది. ఈ విషయం అక్కడ సంచలనం సృష్టించింది. మరి అక్కడ సామాజిక పరిస్థితి ఎలా ఉంది? కరోనా కట్టడికి అక్కడ ఎటువంటి చర్యలు తీసుకుంటున్నారు? ఈ విషయాలు వివరించేందుకు కెనడాలోని ప్రముఖ తెలుగు వైద్యులు భాను నల్లా అందుబాటులో ఉన్నారు. ఆయన అడిగి మరిన్ని విషయాలు తెలుసుకుందాం. నమస్తే భాను గారు.
Namaste.
Sir, the Canadian coronavirus death has passed. Actually, it's crossed 5,700 mark recently. What's happening there?
So, first of all, let me say this is a global pandemic with coronavirus. Every country seems to have a different death rate, and the numbers are going up. Multiple factors may account for the fact that death rate in Canada is at this level. And this includes things like population density, testing, how well the government and the people are prepared for the virus, public health policies, and also public awareness and trust in the government.
Yeah, true.
Canada is somewhere, I'd say, in terms of death rate, it's probably about the 11th in the world. We're not doing too great, but we're not doing too bad either, considering what has happened.
Yeah, and also, sir, there are some provinces worst hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. They have already started reopening several schools, and also they eased some restrictions. Does the overall situation seems to be under control?
So the overall situation is getting better. The certain areas in Canada definitely got hit worse than others. The main provinces I'm concerned about are Quebec and Ontario. So these are the biggest death rates we've had. And a lot of the problem has been in long-term nursing homes. And this is where 60-70% of the cases have been affected. But that rate is now coming down. We've kind of leveled off on the curve, and we're actually starting to come down a little bit as well.
The Canada Prime Minister, like Justin Trudeau, recently warned the people that still in emergency phase, the rush can force Canada back into the confinement. So how weak is the situation currently there?
So the situation is that we're now starting to come out of confinement. So just last weekend in our province, the premier of the province said we are allowing some non-essential services. People are allowed to go outside. Obviously, we keep our physical distancing. We went into lockdown on March 17th. So it's over 2 months now, and we're starting to come out of this. We're concerned in the hospital that we're going to start to see cases maybe in the next few weeks to months coming. And I think the government are very, very careful to ease restrictions on a phased approach.
So you're saying that they are taking enough measures to take care of the virus, but the corona first death linked to the coronavirus reported on March 8th. Like, what actions have been taken by the government of Canada so far to respond to this pandemic?
March, we had our first cases of coronavirus actually end of January, beginning of February, but first death was actually in March.
Yeah.
Since then, the government has been giving us daily updates. So we've been seeing Prime Minister Trudeau giving updates. As you're aware, his wife actually got coronavirus from the UK.
Yeah.
And so he's been giving updates from his house. March 17th, our province went into lockdown. So all travel was restricted. We restricted entry of travel from other countries, including the USA. We were told at this time to stay into social isolation. That means staying in the house, only going out for essential And I think the fact that Canada has been very good in terms of public awareness has helped mitigate that death rate and also the infection rate.
When it comes to your personal profile, you're working as a consultant anesthetist and also intensive care consultant. And also you are the in charge of COVID department in your hospital. What was your experience so far?
So when we realized that COVID is going to be a real possibility within Canada, we started preparing in the hospital. We took guidance from the province, and also we set up a team, part of our ICU group. So I work as a team with 12 other people, and we set up protocols in place for preparing for COVID patients coming in. Also, I'm part of the PPE working group to make sure that we have enough protective equipment for hospital staff so they don't get infected as well. We started looking at drug trials and seeing what drugs are potentially available. And we asked around. We had some experiences from Italy, from China, from Europe. And so we had the luxury that we could gain from their experiences before we instituted our own policies.
As you said that, like, you are currently working in Health Sciences North Hospital in Ontario. Ontario is one of the most affected provinces. So how is the local situations are there?
So Ontario is a huge province. So there is a differences in different parts of the province. So the population density and the fact that there was lots of international travel coming into Toronto made that the hotspot for coronavirus.
Okay.
So I live about 4 hours north of Toronto, maybe about 400 kilometers north. We haven't actually seen as many cases as we have seen in Toronto in our community. And so far, we've only had 2 deaths in our hospital. So we've done very well.
Yeah. And what are the major issues you observed with the COVID patients personally?
So personally, I actually admitted the first COVID patient to our hospital. Okay. So this gentleman was part of a family. Himself and his wife got admitted. He was extremely sick. He was sick for about a week at home. He didn't want to come in because he had children. And he really presented with respiratory difficulties. His oxygen levels were critically low, but he was still able to talk to us. We recognized that this could be COVID. We didn't have the testing results straight away, and we had to treat him as though he was. He came back positive later, and he was on our ventilator for at least 2 weeks before he recovered. Problems we're seeing is multi-system, and we're learning more about this disease as the weeks go by. Yeah. It's not just respiratory problems. People are coming in with cardiac problems. They're going into heart failure. They're having inflammatory problems as well. So it's not a typical virus that we see and we deal with. Yeah. And the situation is changing. Every week we get new information on how this virus presents. We're even seeing cases presenting in children now as well.
Yeah. And as you said, we are still learning. What are the first steps hospitals are taking? A man with corona symptoms walks in.
Absolutely. So this is critical in dealing with this with this problem. First of all, we have to have a high degree of suspicion that this person has coronavirus. These people are isolated and kept in a separate room. So once we know that someone is positive, then we can treat them accordingly. Once the testing is done and that we find that they're negative, if they're still having symptoms, we still treat them as though they are positive for coronavirus. Yeah.
As you said, like, you are treating the coronavirus patients. At present, there is no specific treatment for coronavirus. Countries like different countries having different protocols. In that case, what is happening in Canada?
Situation is changing on a regular basis. And when we first started getting reports of coronavirus, there was lots of enthusiasm about different types of treatment protocols and drugs. Yeah. What we've learned over the last few months is that most of this is supportive therapy only. Yeah. And what I mean by supportive therapy is that we help with a patient's oxygenation, we help with their blood pressure, we give them fluids if necessary. So these are the sort of treatments that we're looking for, and we monitor the patients very, very closely. It's a very difficult disease to manage only because it presents with varying degrees of symptoms.
Yes. As you spoke about the drugs, what about the remdesivir and hydroxychloroquine usage in Canada?
Sure. So early on in the course of the disease, there was a lot of excitement about hydroxychloroquine. This is an anti-malarial drug. It's widely available. Yeah. And people use it in Canada for rheumatoid arthritis and other inflammatory conditions. And there was some reports from China saying that there's some benefit from this. But as the studies kept going, it looked like the benefit was getting less and less. Now, we're still waiting randomized clinical trials and the results of those to come out on hydroxychloroquine. Recently, in the last week or two, we've actually taken it off the protocol. We've noticed that it hasn't had effects, and there may be some side effects and reactions associated with the hydroxychloroquine.
Okay.
Remdesivir is another drug, an antiviral drug that has been used to treat MERS and SARS-1 years back with mixed results. It does have antiviral properties. It's very expensive. And so far, again, the limited trials that are out does not favor its use, considering its cost and the side effect profile. So in Canada, we are not using remdesivir at all.
Yeah. Since like you people are working on strategies, there are some reports which saying a significant portion of death toll was in the province of Quebec. What's wrong there?
Yeah, Quebec is interesting. 60 to 70% of cases are coming from Quebec, and the majority of deaths are coming from Quebec. Multiple factors, I'd say, will account for why Quebec has a much higher death rate than other provinces in Canada. Early March, we had a lot of Canadians coming from the States who go to vacation in the States, and they were bringing back a lot of virus coming from there. Montreal is a very cosmopolitan, densely populated city, and I think the spread had started much sooner in Quebec than the government gave it credit for. Each province has its own philosophy on how to institute public health and social distancing, and I think Quebec may have been a little slow.
So how is Canada monitoring the supply of drugs and medical devices to ensure there is no shortages?
Sure. This is a major problem.
Yes, all over the world.
Drugs are a huge problem in everywhere because global demand has gone up exponentially, but the supply chain is not being able to be keeping up with that. The Canadian government is invested in making sure that all the hospitals are provided with the adequate amount of drugs.
Okay.
And PPE has become a huge problem as well. Our hospitals are dependent on government supplies, and we're doing trade deals with China. So we're actually working very hard to source PPE from other countries now as well as China.
So how is the NRIs are doing there, and the NRI doctors are okay there?
Yeah, they're doing very well. Most people who are working in Canada, the NRIs, we're all been living here for some time.
Yeah.
We don't seem to have any issues. This is a very new country, so most people who are Indians or NRIs living in Canada are pretty much integrated into the Canadian society. So I don't think there's been any problems. But otherwise, we're doing very well here.
Okay.
We're lucky in Canada that we don't have. It's a big area with a low population density, so that is definitely advantageous and helps us for sure.
Yeah, since you just spoke about China, there is a news which says Chinese coronavirus vaccine could be tested and manufactured in Canada. So any updates about that?
Sure. There were multiple countries looking into testing and manufacturing vaccine. Canada is one of them. They've just been given the license in Halifax to manufacture and test a vaccine there. Problem with vaccine testing is these drugs need minimum 4 to 5 years to actually get approved in terms of safety and efficacy and clinical trials and testing. The way this coronavirus is going now, people are fast forwarding that and hoping to get something out in the next 2 years or so.
Yeah. So finally, what do you say about the measures that that Indian government taking to control coronavirus?
So India has a lot of challenges. It's a huge population. Yeah. Every state is different. Every area is different. Modi has really, really big challenges to try and control this. I think he's done the best job he can do based on the problems there. India still has a way to go in terms of the amount of testing, but I think this is very early days, and this disease process is going to go on at least for a year to 2 years. So really what we have to rely on is public health measures right now, and that's going to save the most amount of lives. No drugs, no vaccine, so we have to rely on each other.
Yeah, sure, sir. Well said. Thank you so much, Bhanu Garu. Thanks for your valuable time. సో ఇది కెనడా నుంచి భాను గారు చెప్తున్న అనుభవాలు. ముఖ్యంగా అక్కడ అన్ని జాగ్రత్తలు తీసుకుంటున్నామని, ఇండియా సైతం కరోనాను కట్టడి చేయడంలో అద్భుతంగా పనిచేస్తుందని చెప్తున్నారు. ఈటీవీ స్టూడియో నుంచి జానకిరామ్.